Today we'll talk about the top dirtiest fouls in football history that will make you go oof in your seat. Football is a sport that gets your heart pumping and electricity running through your body, and while the game might seem easy to play from behind your screens, the career-ending injuries that often come with that game are not the kind of thing you would see in your school games. Sometimes a football match is not a sport at all. It can be an all-out war where everything goes, and some players take no prisoners. From Roy Keane to Ben Thatcher, the tackles that went wrong and turned into fouls on this list will convince you of the savagery these players have committed. And stay tuned for the saga at number 1, as you do not want to miss the intense ferocity of the grudge that spans over 5 years. So let's get right into it. No match of any sport in the world is as intense as a FIFA World Cup final. And in 2010, the emotions could not have been any more intense when Spain looked to win their first world title against the mighty Dutch team. After the formalities had concluded, the match was underway. Within 26 minutes of the first half, 4 fouls have been committed on both sides, but the most brutal one was yet to come merely 2 minutes later. In the 28th minute, while Nigel de Jong was trying a high tackle, he had his cleats connect with Xabi Alonso's chest instead of the ball, sending Alonso crashing onto the field. Damn, this looks like something out of a Bruce Lee movie. While this foul may not seem all that criminal, it was definitely brutal and worthy of a red card, which surprisingly was not shown. Instead, he was just let go with a yellow card. The guy must have used up all his luck in one go. If you thought that kick was red card worthy, wait till you see these elbow hits that only received yellow cards. English player Ben Thatcher was often referred to as a brutal thug, and for a good reason. In a January 2000 match, Thatcher, representing Wimbledon, elbowed the Sunderland midfielder Nicky Summerby right under the chin, knocking him out in the process. Although the referee didn't see anything, much like the WWE referees don't see anything, he was later banned for 2 games after an investigation was concluded. But that's not even the worst of his misdeeds. The guy has some slick moves under his sleeve and is not afraid to show them. You'd think he'd learn his lesson from 6 years ago, but some people just aren't that bright. In 2006, representing Manchester City against Portsmouth, he again committed one of the worst fouls ever to be seen. Both Pedro Mendes of Portsmouth and Thatcher ran towards the loose ball, with Thatcher not even remotely wanting to control the ball. Instead, he embodied the spirit of the Flash and crashed with his elbow into Mendes, getting him off the field into the advertising boards nearby like a sliding Formula 1 car. The worst part, or rather the best, he was only given a yellow card, while poor Pedro got knocked out and had to receive oxygen right there on the field, while also suffering a seizure. That's just brutal. Thatcher was later banned for 6 games by his own club and didn't receive his salary for 6 weeks. The FA took it a bit further by banning him for 8 matches. If those couldn't get red carded by some miracle or poor eyesight of referees, the following not just had to, but they also got players banned from setting foot on the field for a while. In 2008, after the departure of French legend Thierry Henry to Barcelona, Arsenal signed a young new player, a Brazilian-born Croatian, Eduardo da Silva. The Arsenal team was 5 points clear, and it looked like nothing could stop them from winning their first Premier League title in 4 years. But what happens next sends the Gunners on a downward spiral, shattering their spirits, with the team finishing the season in 3rd place. In a match against Birmingham City in 2008, Gael Clichy slotted the ball inside towards Eduardo, but Eduardo's luck ran out, as Martin Taylor came charging for the ball, but instead he got Eduardo's leg, snapping 2 supporting bones whilst also dislocating his ankle. Eduardo was transported to Sally Oak Hospital, where he underwent surgery. The team's hopes and dreams of winning that match were dashed, let alone the title. The injury was so graphic that no replay was shown at the time. Martin Taylor was shown the red card. Thank God for that. Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger stated that Taylor should be banned for such a horrific act he most likely committed on purpose. Da Silva never fully recovered, and fans still guess what could have been had he never got injured. This next one we like to call the father of all war and hate crimes. Let us travel back to the year 1983. In a match at Camp Nou between Barcelona and Athletic Club, Barcelona was far in lead and was winning the match, thanks to prime Maradona. Andoni Goicoechea decided enough was enough and came up and tackled Maradona from behind, folding his ankle like a cheap accordion, breaking his ankle ligaments. Maradona said that he heard the sound of his ankle cracking like the breaking of wood. This foul has been dubbed one of the most brutal fouls ever delivered in the history of Spanish football. Talk about honor or not. In light of this incident, English journalist Edward Owen invented the nickname the Butcher of Bilbao for Goicoechea, which stuck with him throughout his career. He was later awarded a 10-match ban by the Royal Spanish Football Federation for the foul. Sources have it, the Butcher kept the infamous shoe he hurt the legendary Argentine with in a glass case in his home. Now, if that is not the definition of merciless, I don't know what is. Merciless doesn't even begin to describe the final foul on this list, the Roy Keane Alfie Haaland saga. They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but boy, was this dish served hot. Context: let's go back to 1997 when Eric Cantona, the then captain of Manchester United, unexpectedly retired, and his replacement was none other than Roy Keane. During the 9th Premier League match between Leeds United and Manchester United, Roy Keane tried to tackle Leeds United player Alfie Haaland for the ball, but missed, injuring his cruciate ligament in the process. Alfie, who survived the tackle, then stood over Keane and accused him of deliberately wanting to hurt him and also of diving to avoid the consequences. Well, fast forward to 2001. In the Manchester Derby, this rivalry came to a head with Keane and Haaland both on the field playing for their respective teams. In the last 5 minutes before the end of the match, Alfie kicked the ball away, but out of nowhere, the United captain came charging toward the City player and kicked Alfie's right knee with sheer brutality as an act of pure vengeance. Like, he wasn't even trying to hide the fact that he wanted to kick the ball. He straight up went for Alfie's knees. Alfie went down hard, and this time it was the Irishman who stood over him, hurling abuses at Alfie, saying, "Don't you ever blame me for faking an injury," along with various slangs that would get our channel banned. Alfie couldn't even stand on his own legs and had to be stretched out of the stadium, effectively ending his career at the young age of just 30. Alfie stated that his left knee was already giving him enough problems as he had been playing injured for the past couple of months. This turned out to be the last nail in the coffin. Roy Keane was given a 3-match suspension while also awarded a £5,000 fine. But the saga doesn't end there. In August 2002, Roy Keane released his autobiography. In it, he stated that he had waited long enough and he wanted to seriously hurt Haaland. After this admission of the premeditated attack, he was banned for a further 5 matches while also being fined an additional £150,000. In response, Keane said that he regrets nothing. The Barbarian! Man, that is one petty fella. So, there you have it. Our top picks of the dirtiest fouls in football history. Which other fouls do you think should be on the list? Sound off in the comment section below, and we'll see you next time.